22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not.
Is muted. My mic is unmuted. Peace and blessings, everybody. I'm Damon K. Jones here, and I am the publisher of Black Westchester, People Before Politics radio show. And my partner AJ is somewhere. I don't know where he's at, but we're going to close his screen right now until he comes back. And I hope everybody watching has had a blessed Sunday and a beautiful weekend. And tomorrow we're going to start off a new week. And I hope and pray everybody starts off this new week with blessings and dreams that they desire. So we are here on the People Before Politics show, and we have a great show today. Coming up at 6:30, we're going to have Don't Strain Your Drain campaign. Young brothers and sisters that are coming through from YCOP, and they're going to be talking about their Don't Strain Your Drain campaign. It started January 27th and is on to March 23rd. And we're going to have these young brothers and sisters here to educate us on why we shouldn't strain our drains. And I'm definitely going to listen, because I own a house, me and my wife, and we don't want to strain our drains because it costs a lot of money. Costs a lot of money to fix. So it's great to have young people going out here in the communities and putting forth the effort to help our communities and help us, help adults, man. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So AJ will be back in a minute. So I'm holding it down right now. So, and this is Black History Month. It's crazy that we still talking about we get a month when we are history. Black people are American history. Black people are world history. Black people are human history. Let's get it straight. We are humanity's history. Because when they looked to find the oldest fossil, it was the DNA of Black people in Africa. So being delegated a month is disrespectful, because we are actually humanity's history, and we can't allow them to forget that. But since we are celebrating Black History Month, I wanted to make something. I got to make something clear, because there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of misconceptions when people claim Martin Luther King Jr. on Black History Month, and especially, and I was going to write a piece on this, but I'm going to touch on it, since AJ will be back in a couple of minutes. Martin Luther King Jr. Let's get something straight for history. The March on Washington wasn't about Martin Luther King Jr. having a dream. See, they like to put us in outer space a lot as Black people and make us dream of things while we are literally living in a nightmare in America. But let's make something clear, especially for the politicians that like to claim Martin Luther King Jr., but don't support reparations for Black people. Martin Luther King Jr., when he stood in Washington, D.C., he said something that a lot of people that quote Martin Luther King tend to get amnesia around. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Go watch the speech. He said that we came here to get a check because the first check that they gave us, and I'm paraphrasing, came up insufficient funds. Martin Luther King Jr. knew on that day that the American government owed Black people money. See, we don't need a bill down in Washington, D.C. to study reparations. And you're going to hear a lot of politicians going to say we have to study it. Listen, America was built on slaves. Ain't nothing to study. Ain't nothing to study. It was the American laws that kept us slaves. Ain't nothing to study. Black hands worked from can't see morning to can't see night to build the White House. Ain't nothing to study. See, what they have to do is prepare to cut a check. See, as Black people, we look around and money goes everywhere but to Black people. Billions of dollars across overseas, billions of dollars to Israel, billions of dollars to Ukraine. But when Black people say, hey, listen, can we get what we deserve? We didn't even get our 40 acres and a mule. So can we get what we deserve? Oh, we got to study that. They ain't never put forth a study for Ukraine or Israel. And I'm not being anti-Israel. I'm just being pro-Black. We want our money too. And for us not to have the unity in our community to demand that, and for us not to put elected officials in position that's going to fight for that, it comes back to being our fault. So that's my Black History Month rant. We shouldn't give our vote for any politician that's not supportive of monetary reparations, because everybody else get it. Look at the migrants here. They're getting ready to give them prepaid credit cards. Up in Boston, they're giving them free housing, brand new housing. And they just got here yesterday. We died on those fields. We faced Jim Crow, and now we face his son, James Crow Esquire. We had dogs, water hoses, people that spoke out for the equality for Black people were assassinated. And now if they don't like what you're saying, they try to silence you. So I mean, we have to put our vote to better use. because we never get what we deserve as Black people. We never get what we deserve. We're the first ones to run and vote, and we're the last ones on the line to receive something. Aren't y'all? I mean, a lot of y'all are very smart people. So why do we sit here and not demand what every other ethnic group demands? We have to do better as a people. We have to understand the political process here. We have to understand that our vote matters, but our vote should matter for us. For the last 50 years, our vote has been mattering for people that don't even care about us. And if you say I'm wrong, just look at the conditions of the Black communities. Look at the conditions of the Black communities. Look at the conditions of our schools. Look at the conditions of our infrastructure. We can't always blame the white man. We got to start blaming us because we vote for these people that don't represent us. And then we get fooled by a couple of Negroes who got some jobs that come back in the community and say, look at me. You could be just like me. And the majority of the people don't even get that they're just put there to fool us. My brother AJ, come on in, man.
Hey, good people. Welcome to Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. Shout out to Sister Margaret Coleman tuned in, and everybody else who's tuned in. Got a good show for you today. I know a lot of you seen the post that I posted of the second hour we will be having at 7 o'clock. The father of Jarrell Garris, who was shot and killed by the New Rochelle Police Department. His father has been pretty quiet. He hasn't really done a lot of interviews. This may be his first. And he's ready to tell you what's on his mind in his fight for justice on the death of his son. And then we got a couple of kids we want to highlight coming up in about 15 minutes. But I want to join you. There was a couple of things you said. You said everybody else got their check and we didn't have to do a study. When the Japan actually bombed Pearl Harbor, and then all the Japanese was rounded up into internment camps, after they were released, they got their reparations right then and there.
Right.
And they bombed this country. They literally bombed this country. Like they declared war on us. This country's declared war on us, and you know, the U.S. has declared war on Black people. And you know, I'm torn on the whole thing about checks, though. There's a lot of things, because I believe if you just gave a whole bunch of Black people some checks, you know, that's not really going to help situation too. We need to do. They had stuff like the Homestead Act before, where white people benefited, where they was giving them houses and loans for houses and government funds so they could build, you know, first time homeowners and stuff. Stuff like that would go a long way to generational wealth.
Well, no, absolutely. Martin Luther King, he talked about that, right?
And also, and I'm not talking about Ivy League schools. I'm talking about like community colleges. All American descendants of slavery should have the privilege of going to community college for free. That's another way.
I think that's now. But see here's the problem.
Well, that's not now. That's not now in New York. You're not free to.
I think community college is free now.
I have to check on that. Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
it
think
should be
community. I think community college. I think community college is free.
community
But
college,
see,
maybe even state college. They should be free. But these are the things that we should be. These are the things that, in addition to a monetary thing, things that can help build generational
right,
wealth
but
and
we have to
black
right,
economics.
but
Yeah,
we have to have a sense of community first.
oh, absolutely,
See, because if black people, we don't have a sense of community, we're going to give our money back to the oppressor.
absolutely.
We're going to give our money back to the oppressor. We're not going to pool our resources. Look, we spend what, 2 trillion a year now?
1.3, 1.5, something like that.
Exactly, close to $2 trillion now,
Well,
right?
that's what Dave Chappelle had. He had the Chappelle show, and he actually had a skit the day black people got their reparations, and KFC stock went up 700%. Cadillac stock went up 700%. Like people just spent all this money. Nobody built businesses. Nobody built things into the community. Yeah, community
Okay,
college
well,
is not free yet, but it should be.
I thought in New York State all SUNY schools was free.
No. You had the privilege of being a Westchester County employee, so you
Hey,
didn't have to
listen,
pay. So you didn't have to
no.
pay for Westchester County.
Look,
But the
I
rest of
know
us,
it was free
we
for.
have to pay
Look,
for
I
that.
know it was free for me, right?
Yeah,
But what I'm
because you're a
saying,
Westchester
what
employee.
what I'm saying is, I thought that they did pass that, and
No,
maybe that's my mistake, and
right,
I could be corrected,
right.
But at the end of the day, we should pool our resources, and we need to. See, we don't send our kids to historical black colleges.
That's
We
another thing.
need to send all our children to historical black colleges.
Funding,
It shouldn't be a debate. It shouldn't be a debate.
and those schools should be funded too as a part of reparations.
Exactly.
They should be
As a
fully
part of
funded.
reparations.
Those
You
should
go
be
to a
fully
historical
funded.
black college,
Yeah.
we gonna pay for you all the way up to your doctorate degree. You become a doctor, an engineer, but then we got to go to college and become engineers, right? Become the community builders, right? We have to be educated in community building. We're not taking the degrees. When my daughter graduated from the University of Miami, and I would rather go her with to, but she said, well, this is the school, that's better for nursing. Okay, so she went down there. It was out of the whole class, I only saw 2 black young people graduated with engineering degrees. Engineering, we need engineers to build communities. We can't leave it up to other people that don't look like us and want our community built, and we don't have black engineers. So we have to look at all these different areas that build community and have our children go there, and hopefully they will go to HBCUs and learn those skills and come back to the black community and help build the community. So I think we have to have community. See, other people say community first, and they don't have no problem saying that, and they don't even care about pushback. But when we as black people, when we say community first, they tell us they tell us you can't say that. Well, why we can't say that? Why we can't say that? We should be proud to say community first. And we should put demands on our vote that if you get in office, there's things that you have to do or we're going to take you out. And we need to fund our own politicians. Dr. Claude Anderson said, the first thing we do is have businesses, we get property, and then we buy our politicians. And if we can't buy them, we rent them. Look at right now in the county execs race. You got an organization, APAC, has given George Lattimore Let me rerun. A Republican-funded political action committee has given George Lattimore over 40% of his campaign finances. Now, who is he loyal to? Them or them Negroes that he be having around him? Who is he loyal to?
You answer the phone to the person who pays the bills.
Exactly. Exactly. He's going to answer to them because we don't understand that part of the game yet because we spend our money on other things instead of understanding that we need to spend our money in politics and buy our politicians. There's nothing wrong with saying buying your politicians because they all are bought by somebody, and so it should be us. If they're representing our community, it should be us. See, we got to start having these conversations out loud.
We need to support our candidates with more than just words and with our wallets. There's been a lot of great politicians, a lot of great community people who would be great to serve in office who couldn't run or couldn't continue to run because they didn't have the funds to run, but they would have been great leaders. It's because we support candidates with words and not our wallets.
Yeah. You know, I mean, even if it's $10, $15, but exactly, exactly, brother. See, we have to, because they do it all the time, and they're doing it now, and they're doing it right in front of our eyes, and they're doing it with Republicans. They tell you not to vote. See, here's the hypocrisy. They tell you don't vote for Republicans. They tell you Republicans are racist, right? They don't have your interests. So what does it say when that same candidate that's telling you not to vote for Republicans, that Republicans are racist and hate Donald Trump and we reject MAGA, right? What's that say to you when they take the money from them?
I just shared a video that you could share. It talks about just what you said about engineers, about us needing engineers. It's a quick video. Play that real quick, because that is the
black boys last year that wanted to play in the NBA. Of that million, only 400,000 will even make it to play high school ball. Of that 400,000, only 4,000 will be able to make it to play college ball. Of that 4,000, only 35 will make it to the NBA. Of that 35, only 7 start. And the average life in the NBA is 4 years. So the real problem is we have 1 million brothers looking for 7 full-time jobs the last 4 years. And yet last year we had 100,000 jobs available to be a computer programmer, engineer, or doctor, and only 1,000 brothers qualified. So our appeal to black males is to realize the odds. That you do most will be that you do best. I mean, we were the first doctor, not Hippocrates, Imhotep. So we have the ability either in math or science or music and sports. But that you do most will be that you do best. If you play basketball from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you'll be a very good basketball player. If you went home and went to the library, you'd be a very good scholar. We need more black male role models that will encourage our youth in math and science.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was looking for that. When you said that, I had this video. I posted it on TikTok and Instagram, and I was looking it up, and I finally found it. That sums up exactly what you were saying.
Right, and we also have to change the culture in the black community. That we have to be Hey, my sister Dawn, God bless. Good Sunday.
Hey, Dawn.
We have to understand. We have to understand that we got to start promoting the nerd, the smart black kid, instead of the little gangster Negro that want to walk around with his pants down to his knees. See. Thank you. And we have to really do that. We have to change the culture in the black community and how we see black men and what and what trajectory that we want Black men to go. And we have to focus on family.
And Black men need to stand up too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And they have to stop being feminized. They have to stop being feminine. They have to stop being cowards. They have to stop being cowards. And Black men need to step up and speak truth to power. We need a lot of y'all pastors, when y'all go to these politicians, saying, "Thus say the Lord," not what type of grant can I get. Y'all know what I'm talking about. See, that's what the Black community needs, because that's what they do. We don't do it.
You know, we celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday. Now we celebrating Black history. All the documentaries are coming on about Dr. King. I just watched the one on Rustin. You know, and it reminded me how powerful the Black church was to the civil rights era. It wasn't all pastors, because some of them pastors were scared and didn't want Martin Luther King to say the things he was saying. They looked at him as too radical. After he graduated college, he couldn't find a job at any church in Boston because, you know, he was a little too radical, like his father. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't trying to hear that. But so it was like a lot of Black pastors actually putting roadblocks in his path.
Absolutely.
Until he stepped up. But once they stepped up, it was the Black church that was one of the galvanizing forces for the movement and for the advancement in Black people. It started with, one of them was Powell. Definitely, Powell was definitely one of the ones. One of our Negro politicians that was trying putting roadblocks in front of Dr. King's path. Absolutely. Couldn't finish Rustin because you know, you have to look at that too. Like, I mean, I saw the gay scenes and it was a little rough to watch though, but it showed, like, one of the things Martin Luther King, a Southern Baptist preacher in the 60s, it was this gay Black man who was responsible for galvanizing that non-violent movement that we came from. And Martin Luther King, while it wasn't the most popular thing in the world, knew he could get this done working with him. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, you know, we all got our different things that we don't gel. You know what I'm saying? But when it showed when we work together, though, the power of what can be done when we work together. And sometimes you just have to lead and do it, because it wasn't just Powell. It was several others. Roy Wilk. It was several. No, not Roy. It was several others of the big names that you see that get celebrated with King. They were the ones putting roadblocks in front of him. They're the ones that didn't want that march on Washington to happen. They didn't think we could get that many people. They were talking about all the reasons it couldn't be done. But
that's Black people.
But they did it, and while the gay scenes were a little hard to watch, it was this gay Black man who wouldn't take no for an answer, who pushed it through and got the support. He knew he couldn't do it without Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King couldn't do it without him, and they teamed up and they made it happen. And then everybody else joined in, and it was all this great moments and everything afterwards. But we have to stop letting people, the point is we have to stop letting people that look like us tell us we can't do it and creating the roadblocks. We got to do it anyway. Do you know how many people told Damon and I that this wouldn't work?
Exactly.
You know how many people's like, well, you're getting more of an audience if you take the word Black out of your title. And then they try to put division between us. People were like, oh, AJ, I like what you're doing, but you might want to watch the company you keep, and try to draw division between us. And I'm talking about our elected officials and people high in the Democratic Party. You understand what I'm saying? And they were like, oh, well, you're a little too adversarial. Well, you know, Damon's a little too radical. You might want to, you know, do it without his... we celebrating 10 years now. We've been on the city and state Power 100 for the last 4 years. We got more proclamations and awards than I can put on one wall. I need a room for all of that stuff. We've done all that despite our Negro leaders not supporting us. Our Negro leaders wouldn't even advertise with us. People in the Democratic Party were telling Democrats not to come on our show. Told them it wouldn't be a good look. Don't go on that show.
And when when they did come on, and when they did come on, they had a wonderful time.
And they were like, yo, I don't know why they warned me about this show. This is one of the best interviews I ever did. And then they came back. And a couple of people who lost the race came back and said, you know, I wish I hadn't listened. I should have went on your show.
Exactly.
Now,
exactly.
Right? For the intents and purposes, we're not calling out everybody's name now, but they all know who they are, though. And their names have been called before if you watch older videos. But the point is, though, we have to stand on our morals. We have to fight for what we have to fight for. We have to stop letting people tell us we can't do it or that's not the way to do it. My whole thing was, yeah, so you might not agree with the way we do it, but what y'all been doing for the last 20, 30, 40 years ain't working, right? So maybe it is time to try. And I say this to say we tell our young people, oh, that's not the way you handle it. Oh, that's whatever. They looking at us, the young, older people saying, your way ain't working. Why should we listen to y'all? We got to try something else. And every movement has been the young people. One of the people they showed was a 15-year-old John Lewis who was inspired by all of that. Look what he came to be. You understand? It was a movement of young people. So we need to galvanize our young people. We need to listen to them too and hear what they have to say. And we need to empower them. And maybe we get a little further and it would be less of a generational, friction between us.
Right.
We're not trying to hear them, and they definitely ain't trying to hear us because that turn the other cheek thing, they're not trying to hear no more. That Martin Luther King thing, they're not trying to hear. when it's their age group that they see being shot at or killed by the cops when they're unarmed, segue into our second guest that's coming up at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there. The point is, we need to step up, and we all need to step up, and there's a role for everybody to play. There's a lot of things that I can't do, but you know what? I write, and I got a microphone, and I run my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And those are the two things that I've always done, and I incorporate that into this thing when Damon asked me to be the pen of his movement. You understand what I'm saying? So we use what it is we do. Everybody's not going to be on the front lines. Everybody's not that dude to be out in the street, but you can support those who's doing the work. Us, activists that's out there, you can support them. That might be your way. You can do the behind the scenes. There's all kinds of clerical work and letter writing and phone calls that need to be made and organization that needs to be done. Dr. Bob always talks about one of the things we lack the most is organization in all of our movements. We talk a good game. Ain't no organization. We don't organize.
Right.
Everybody has a role that they can play. And this month, it should be all year round. And I said this at one of my book signings. Cynthia Turnquest Jones, who was the original co-host of the show, is very very knowledgeable on Black history. She will tell everybody it wasn't the school system that taught her. It was her father, Victor Turnquest, that taught her all that she knows. We need to make sure that we are teaching our young people. We are giving them their history. Martin Luther King Day, don't just take the day off. Watch the documentaries. Teach your kids the truth about Dr. Martin Luther King. They want to make him into just a dreamer. Yeah, I had a dream. Yeah. The dream that he said became a nightmare, and he became a little more radical towards the end. And the reasons that got him killed wasn't because of that I Have a Dream speech. It was because of the Poor People's Campaign, and he said it was time to redistribute the pain. We shouldn't be the only ones feeling the pain. And he was talking about a lot of stuff, and those are the things that got him killed. Fighting for the poor people, not just poor Black people, the poor people. There's a lot of poor white people, all poor people. That's what got him killed. So we got to stop letting them, turn King into a dreamer and we have to teach our kids true history. That is our job. We can't depend on the school system. That is our job. And if the kids don't know it, then we are failing the youth. They're not failing us.
Absolutely.
We're failing them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nonviolence was a strategic plan, not a reality for freedom. Okay, that's true. I agree about the of those who are naysayers. I can't tell you how many people didn't give Y Cop a snowball's chance in hell and succeed. That's the director of Y Cop. He's some of his kids are about to come on, and I totally agree with Mr. Wilson. A lot of people didn't want to see that succeed. And
First time watching you brothers, but I like what I'm hearing. Real men not apologizing for talking like exactly.
And that's no disrespect to our LGBTQ community.
Exactly.
But that's not who I'm speaking for. That's not who I represent. And I'm not gonna see. I've said this for the longest. If to be pro-black, you are labeled anti something. So if you're fighting for unarmed black people not to get killed by the police, now you're anti-police. We're not anti-police, we're anti-bad cops. You know what I'm saying? If you fight for black freedom and stuff and you say something, they want to label you anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQ, anti-something. We're the only group of people that can be pro-black, to be pro what we are, to be labeled anti-everything else.
Well, they don't want you to be. They don't want the conversation.
And they don't want to hear people talk like we're talking.
No, forget about it. Forget about it. You know, it's not going to happen.
And I'm gonna tell you, this is what there have been people who advertise and then they did wrong, and we went after them, and they don't advertise no more. I'm not even letting you. There have been people who have tried to silence us with big checks, and Damon ripped their check up in their face. There have been certain people. Damon said, "We're not taking your money."
Exactly.
You're not. You know, nobody empowered us, so nobody could take the power away from us.
Exactly.
And we 10 years here. We 10 years strong.
Exactly.
And we've done. To Google us, we've done a lot. Go ahead.
I see him there, but I don't see no faces.
Oh, you're not getting that.
I don't see no faces. All right. I see him there. I don't see any faces. Where y'all at?
Yeah, we going to get into the kids. I don't know if they got turned on their cameras or I don't know what you see.
There's 2 cameras on. We're waiting on Felicity and our lovely sister, Dr. Diana Williams, waiting for them.
Well, let's bring her. Let's bring her in and let her talk about what they're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, she ain't on camera yet. We can't bring her.
Okay.
we can't bring her. She's not on camera yet, man.
Well, you're using the other program, so I can't see what you see.
Yeah. She's not on program yet. She's not on camera yet. When she come on camera, we're gonna bring her on, and then she's gonna bring these young people on that's doing amazing work. And because I want to know what's going on with my pipes, you know, I want to know what's going on with my drains, man. And this is the program, Don't Strain Your Drain campaign, January 27th to March 23rd. And oh my God, pouring oil down the drain causes costly repairs for building owners and the city of Mount Vernon. Well, Mount Vernon, don't they got problems with their sewers anyway?
Well, yeah, the plethora of problems.
Here she is. Hold on. The doctor is in. Let me pull this out. The doctor is in. Hold on one second. Oh, there she go. Dr. Diana Williams.
Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, my sister.
Thank you so much for inviting me and inviting the team of very brilliant young people to join the show and to tell the story of their campaign to save Mount Vernonites money, save them from illnesses, and to save the planet.
Thank you for your organization for reaching out to us, and I say that for all other organizations to reach out to us. Now we talk about the politics and we talk about the struggles and everything, but we also need to have these conversations as well. And we don't have, as a people, enough of these kind of conversations. And that's why I wanted to make sure that y'all were on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So,
Go
yes.
ahead.
So you want to introduce? We got the only one that doesn't have her camera on is Felicity.
Yeah, we'll introduce them.
Oh, there she go. We're going to bring them all on stage, and you can introduce them. And
Well, first, tell us what, for those who just seeing this for the first time, the ELOC, Environmental Leaders of Color. What is that? What is the work you're doing? And then introduce the kids that you have there.
Okay, so Environmental Leaders of Color, or ELOC, is a Mount Vernon-based not-for-profit that advocates and educates communities, particularly communities that are socially and financially vulnerable, about climate change, its impact, mitigation solutions, and workforce requirements. And so we started our first program, the Student Summer Energy and Environmental Program, in 2001 during the pandemic in Mount Vernon at Wyckoff. And since then, we have had a program every single year, a 6-week program in the summer for high school students. And it includes the cities of Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Yonkers, Portchester, Ossining, and Peekskill. And so we've been expanding. We've also been expanding our environmental programs to include a technology and the environment program, which started in Mount Vernon in January, where we teach high school students about advanced computer science, something they'll need if they want to work in the century and if they want to compete for computer science jobs. So we've started that. And the program that we're talking about tonight is a campaign called Don't Strain Your Drain. And some very wonderful young ladies started this idea, and I'd like them to explain it and why it's important and how it's helpful to Mount Vernon. And the most important part of this is that it's our young people taking the lead.
Absolutely.
You know, it's our young people taking the lead, and our young people are they are capable of tremendous things, and they have wonderful potential, and they are ready to change the planet for the better. And so, if you do not mind, I'd like to introduce them tonight.
All right.
We have Felicity, we have Kaylin, and we have Janelle.
Hello, young ladies.
Hello. Well, let me give y'all some applause there. Y'all gotta have some applause because y'all doing great work.
I don't hear it. We didn't hear that.
I hear it? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay.
You got it hooked up.
There we go, right?
Nope, still didn't hear it. Well, let me give you some.
All right, applause.
So go ahead, David.
No, so what? Let me ask the ladies a question. So what attracted y'all to this program?
Okay.
Anybody who wants to go
You
first?
go, okay, I'll say it.
Okay.
So basically, back when we were working at Wyckoff during the summer, we were enrolled in this program and we took classes in the morning. And at that time, we were working with like water and how to use it to make energy. So one of our successful projects that won the first place award for the final contest that summer was the recycling of cooking oil. So we took that, and I think it was November 1st, we got to present it to the county legislators, and they really liked the idea and they wanted us to like move on with our project. Okay. So we've just been trying to like improve on what we're doing and like bring it to life.
Okay. So how does that work? Who's going to explain? Because since I'm at fault. Yes, I do pour the oil down the drain. I'm at fault. So when someone does that, right? What is the negative effects? of them pouring oil down the drain?
Okay, so like pouring oil down the drains can cause like blockages and can lead to like backups in homes, basements, backyards, and even like our streets. And this is like more like this can especially happen, especially like during storms, since we've been having a lot of storms recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so the water accumulation, especially in basements, can lead to like mold and respiratory issues. And even then, there's more like the cleaning out the drains when it gets congealed and clogged can increase our taxes when the city comes and cleans it out. And so it's a burden on homeowners, landowners, and renters.
So, if a community is not aware of it over the years of people constantly doing it, it can affect their sewer system,
Yeah.
and
We're
that's why
having
we have the problem.
Yeah, we have some horrific sewer systems where we had people every time it's a storm backing up into people's um, basements and basements of their businesses, and we had a lot of that going on. And one of the things I want to applaud y'all, and I want to say to the adults, sometimes when you want to educate the people, sometimes the best thing to do is to educate the young people, and they will go home and take these messages back to their parents. And
Mm-hmm.
and that is in a very effective way. We don't look at we don't utilize our youth enough and empower them to be able to do stuff like this. So
It
that's
is
something we also got to work on, and we need to listen when they come home and talk to us. We need to hear. We want them to hear from us. Children. When we grew up, children were supposed to be seen and not heard. You know what I'm saying? We want them to hear us and respect us, but do we listen to them?
Yeah, it's no accident that ELOC tries to educate teenagers because we think that they're the perfect ambassadors for things like climate and social justice issues. Parents in Mount Vernon and many of the other cities we serve, they have many other competing demands on their time, right? But in the summer, teenagers are ready, willing to listen, and so they can be the ambassadors in our community, and they make perfect ambassadors.
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
So,
There's one
so
young lady we didn't hear from yet. We want to hear your voice too.
All right. Hi, hello. So yeah, our project is basically about recycling cooking oil. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there is in fact a place you can recycle your cooking oil, but it is all the way in Valhalla and it is extremely inaccessible.
really,
Really, you have to make appointments months in advance. The times are from like 9 to 3. It's inaccessible to parents and people who work. Children aren't allowed to just drop off. You need a car, a driver's license, and it's really a hassle to just go do that. Which is why we can understand why people just pour it down. It's more convenience. They're not
right,
thinking about the damages and costs. And a lot of people aren't even actually aware of the damages and
right,
problems it causes.
Now
right.
y'all had a program where all of y'all got together from all the different cities at the Riverfront Library. One of the
Yes.
things I learned, so I wasn't putting my oil down the sink because I knew better than that. I was putting
I
it into
didn't.
bags and
I'm
throwing it
sorry.
into the garbage, and I'm find out that's worse too. That's not good.
Right.
That's not good either. So we'll talk
So
about
what is the best from best practices after you use the oil? What is the best thing that you should do with your oil?
You should save it on your stove top in a glass, metal, or a carton, and then we are going to have oil drums in Mount Vernon that
that.
you can come to those oil drums and you can pour the oil down the drain. Well, a lot of people don't know that used cooking oil is a great resource. It can be recycled, not necessarily for cooking, but for other kinds of use,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it is better that it is recycled than thrown out the window, poured in the garbage, or anything else. And so, what the young ladies have done is that we've reached out to a company that will provide the drums free.
Really?
And yes, and we are going to have we'll tell residents when drop off time is, and they can come and they can drop off the oil. Right now, we're in discussions with the Mount Vernon fire department, fire department for the oil to be dropped off at the fire stations, but we have not gotten final approval. And let me just say this. These young ladies are doing a campaign for the next 2 months or so.
Mhm.
But if we find a company that can do this long term, I think it's a wonderful idea for the city to go in that direction. You know, and I know that there are a lot of bootleg restaurants in Mount Vernon. No other way to call it, right?
Right.
Right.
And and restaurants produce a lot of oil,
Hmm.
and these restaurants are pouring their oil down the drain. I've been told anecdotally that city officials have caught them pouring oil down storm
Yeah,
drains,
we
right?
did. We did a story on that as well. We actually
Exactly.
videotaped the company and let the city know about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so if we can get those restaurants for a cost-free or a low-cost way to get drums where someone can pick up the oil from them, it would be a great campaign for the city to start. We could do this in Mount Vernon, and I tell you, the way the girls are going, we're going to do this all over Westchester.
That's
So we
great.
can really help the community, and we can help our community. And next year, this summer we're having another ELOC program. We're going to get all the kids from all over Westchester involved, and this could be a real campaign that started in Mount Vernon with students who live in Mount Vernon, and we should be very proud of them.
Two things. What can Black Westchester do to help? And for any adults listening, what can they do to help move these programs forward?
Okay, well, this campaign in particular is called Don't Strain Your Drain. So the one thing they can start doing is saving the cooking oil right by their stove. And then the second thing is that we would like Black Westchester, once we get the places we can do the drop off, which probably will be the fire stations, we will give you that information. And if you can mention it on your show every week
Mhm.
to remind people to do this. And
Absolutely.
yes, and the three is support our young students. You know, you see them walking to school in the morning, they look reluctant and they look like they really don't want to go. Say good morning to them. In the
Mhm.
evening when they're coming home, say good afternoon. Wish them a good day, right? I think that our young people, our teenagers in our communities and in society get a bad rap, particularly teenagers of color, right? But,
Mhm.
it is said that it takes a village to raise a child, and Mount Vernon has to decide what kind of village it wants to be, right?
Mm.
Without
Absolutely.
without support, without teaching them skills, without appreciating them and guiding them in the right direction, we will not raise good kids. And they're good kids. ELOC has had 283 kids participate in our program since its inception, and they have just been absolutely wonderful. Actually, it's not 283 now. It's actually over 300 with our computer program. They have been absolutely wonderful. No incidents, all cooperative, all working very hard, and all as brilliant as these three young ladies are.
I want to. I'm thinking. I also serve as the vice president of the Mount Vernon NAACP. I want to talk to my executive committee and see if I can bring y'all in to talk to the branch and have this conversation and see what we can do. See what we can do to help this along.
Oh, absolutely. We want everyone in Mount Vernon who's listening to this to help these students. And if you tell your neighbor, your friends, your relative that it really is an important thing to save cooking oil so we can save the city some money. And
Mhm.
the damaging effects of toxic mold and mildew is something we all know about, but who knew that clogged storm drains is contributing to this, right? So we
Absolutely.
want everybody to know that this is really important.
And for my young ladies here, I want you to speak to to not just the adults, but your peers on why they should get involved in joining this.
We will.
We will.
We are. Are we
No, I'm
starting?
saying right now. Say something now. Say something.
Oh, now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Make her pitch.
um, Well, there's in Mount Vernon as a teenager, there are not a lot of things to do. And a lot of the teenagers and kids are getting restless and bored, who's stuck at home with nothing to do. Advocating, going out, doing something good to fight for your community is a great thing. Sometimes you just have to be the change that you want to see. You have to make it happen.
Absolutely.
I told you
Absolutely.
they are brilliant.
Absolutely. Well, I got to meet some of y'all, and not just from Mount Vernon. Like I said, at the Riverfront Library, there was several groups from all over the county, and y'all had
Yes,
several projects, and I was just so amazed to see the work that y'all had done, all of y'all, and I applaud y'all, and I celebrate y'all.
yeah. The most
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
The most impressive part of our program is on graduation day when all the students from all over Westchester get together at the Yonkers Riverfront Library. And so they all have to present projects in a science fair. And so you have a congregation. Last year it was 166 students, brown
Beautiful.
and black students from all over Westchester having a science fair. And I think it's probably the largest congregation of children of color doing science in Westchester County. And they blew my mind. Some of the experiments that they did were things that you read about in textbooks. It was absolutely wonderful and very heartwarming. And we're going to do it again this year. Hopefully this year we'll have 200 students.
That's
You know,
great.
also, we talk about the black churches, especially with civil rights and stuff. This message needs to be brought church to church as well, because that's a
Yes,
big way of reaching the
absolutely.
community. And I will call my pastor, and I will, if he's interested, get y'all together so maybe y'all can do a presentation or speak to my church. I go to Centennial, and we'll talk to
Okay,
Pastor.
yes.
I will talk to Pastor Paul in the next couple of days and see. And then hopefully this can be the beginning of maybe going to other churches, other big churches, and having this presentation. Because another way to reach the black community,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
actually might maybe like a third of the community might reach just there in the churches.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and then once you get the pastor to buy in, supposedly most of the people that go to his church buy into his message anyway. So you'll have the pastor giving these messages out too. And I think that might help spread the word, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And
Nah,
is there anything else y'all want to tell?
where
What
can
is
we where
now?
can we
Where
read?
where where do they drop it off at if they're coming to see y'all guys?
What,
So right now we're in negotiations with the Mount Vernon Fire State Department to drop
Okay.
the oil off at the fire stations, but I can't say definitively that it will be there. We still don't have the final approval, but we're asking people to save the oil right now, right? We hope that in another week or so we can tell you where we can drop off oil. We'll have flyers. We'll have more word out there. The girls are going to be out giving out flyers and posting things in restaurants and businesses and churches, and they're going to be at the Metro North station, and they're going to be out doing their ground campaign. It's ground campaign
Mhm.
time. We did all the planning in the last couple of months. And so now it's ground campaign for the next 2 months. And on the 23rd of March will be the final day that they're doing it. But we're going to have a party, probably at YCOP, where we're going to see how much oil they collected over the 2 month period. But we hope that the city will continue the tradition beyond March 23rd.
have y'all brought this to the city council meetings, since it's the city council who actually makes, you know, that when you need things, they have to approve it. You know what I'm saying? Have you tried to bring this to a city council meeting?
Yes, we are planning that the girls will present at the city council meeting.
Yes.
Their guardians and parents have given permission
Right.
for them to be out that time of the night doing this.
Right. Right.
So we are going to present to the city council, and I am meeting with the mayor this week, and we're going to discuss that with her. Although I think she already knows, the fire commissioner already told her, and I have to say that we were told that all the people within the city government who know about this are very supportive.
Okay.
So we're glad to see how things are progressing.
So where can people now? People are hearing about this for the first time. They're hearing about your organization for the first time. Where can people? Is there a website or social media they can follow you and find out more information about this?
Yes, the website will be www.eloc.earth/don't strain your drain. And we're going to have a QR code on all the literature we give out so people can go straight to the website.
Okay, and just send me a text or email with that link so I'll make
Oh,
sure.
sure, we
Yeah.
will. We will. We'll send you a text with a link.
Right.
Yes.
Young ladies, I am proud of you. Please keep doing what you're doing. You are the example of the words of the song. I believe the children's our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Y'all are being taught well, and I'm telling y'all, go ahead and lead the way. You are the future leaders of our city, of our county, of our community. So continue doing what you're doing, and I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so very much for
Any
inviting us,
last words?
Yes, it's-
ladies.
Just come support us. Come help out your
Yeah.
community.
Thank you very much.
I'm
Thank
going to
you
drop
so
off
much.
some oil.
Thank you.
I'm be the first one there online dropping off some oil.
Okay. Thank you so
We'll
much.
see you
Good luck.
then.
We'll be
Okay.
waiting.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Right.
Thank you, my sister. You're always doing great work. Oh, he already put off. She already left. But they do a lot of the environmental leaders of color, ELOC. They do a lot of great work. Look them up. When I post this on Black Westchester, you will have the link to the website. Definitely, these kids, like I said, I got to see them. Dr. Bob was involved. Dr. Bob and Damaris was involved
Okay.
in the project, and they was working with the kids all across the county, and they did, like I said, they did a big program at the Riverfront Library in Yonkers, and it was all of them. And they had in the lobby area, they all had their projects they was working on, and it was. I got to talk to some of the different groups that was, so they do great work.
I'll let
ELOC
you
is
know, brother Raymond is he's in the green room. So
all
whenever
right.
you
So moving on. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. Our next guest, you've seen all the work because I've covered the incident, I've covered the protest. A young man named Jarrell Garris was shot by the New Rochelle Police Department. He then died from his injuries. I think up with like a week later, got shot in front of the church that he was once baptized in. My old church, St. Catherine AME Zion on Lincoln Avenue. Um, the family has been fighting, but the father has not done a lot of interviews. And I don't know if this is his first, but he's definitely ready to speak now. And we invited him tonight to have his say and to fill us in on his fight for justice and hear from him. So welcome to the show, Raymond Fowler. A lot of people in the streets know him as C2, right? C2.
That's right. That's right.
peace and blessings, brother.
Peace and blessings.
So I was there. You know, I met you today. They did the big march, and you were in front of the police station, and I videotaped. People could see you on our social media. There's video of you, what you said that day, and you were like, for the people that know you, you could have went one way, but you didn't,
Right.
and
Right.
you told the people that's not the way we're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna fight them the right way, and you said once you get your son buried and you get taken care of, you're gonna be here and you're not gonna let up. So, welcome to the show, my brother. And that's my brother Damon K. Jones. I don't think you met him because he wasn't able to
No, it's
make
our first time
two
meeting.
rallies. Yeah.
Condolences, and through AJ, I've been watching, everything that has transpired, man, and we support your fight for justice and accountability for what happened to your son.
So just I told a little bit. Start
Thank
with
you.
what happened. Start with what happened, and we just build up from there.
July 3rd, around 4:20, my phone just started blowing up.
Mm.
And it was numbers that I didn't recognize, because pretty much if you know how that goes. If you don't recognize the number, you're not gonna answer it.
Right.
Might be a bill collector, somebody,
Right.
right. Long story short, I picked the phone up, and just so happened it was LaShawn, and she says, "Raymond, I'm not a bearer of bad news. However, your son's been shot." And she didn't tell me it was from someone in the street or what have you. So then I get another phone call, right? And the third phone call, that's when somebody told me that he'd been shot by the police. And it's the day before Independence Day,
Right.
I suppose it. And couldn't get a flight out. Had to wait till the following morning, jumped in a rental, and came up 95 because I reside in North Carolina. And as I remember, initially they said that it was a female officer that shot him.
Mm-hmm.
They said a female officer had shot him. And come to find out that the officer was a male and his name was Stephen Kahn. I want to take time out before I move forward and commend those two female officers.
Yes.
For trying to diffuse the situation. Because they did everything, I think, within their power, as well as human beings to try to diffuse it. And this guy comes in on 100.
Right.
Yeah.
Stephen Kahn, right.
Yeah, Stephen Kahn comes in on 100. He doesn't ask any questions. He takes it a step further and says, "Tase him." And then he yells out, "He has a gun."
Right.
That's, that's a trigger word. You know what I'm saying? For anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What, he got a gun? And it's just been very challenging for me. I'm thankful I'm in a different headspace, but at the end of the day, I'm here to let my voice be heard. I'm not gonna let this get swept underneath the rug because there's a lot of go along to get along from what I see.
Absolutely.
A lot of politics in play. You're not gonna use my son's demise, as a staple, or a notch in your belt. You're not getting away with this.
Right.
But like I said, once I got there, it still was a lot of chaos. You got individuals saying that they speaking on behalf of the family. I don't know these people.
Right.
Well, who are you? You know what I'm saying? Who are you?
I was watching the videos. I'm like, well, what are they doing up here? Right? There's certain people just came out the woodworks. I saw.
We call them.
Yeah, five.
Those
5 minutes of fame.
Yeah, those what do you call them, Damon? Profiteer. What do you call them?
Protest profiteers, man.
Yeah. They trying to make a name off every situation and
situation. And you capitalizing off somebody's, misfortune, man.
Right.
You're talking about somebody who's been shot, and as time went on, they lost their life.
Right.
All of us supposed some water and some fruit.
Right. Exactly.
You can't be serious, like.
I heard when they went to they all went to City Hall and everybody was letting their voices be heard at a city council meeting or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And one of the people spoke, and he said if it was cops and they mentioned my uncle name, George Moffett, I don't know what y'all call him, Peter. Back in the days, they said what he would have did is he would have went in there with him and paid for it, and they said and gave him a couple of words and sent him on his way. We don't have cops like that. Black cops in our community is a few. They named a few back in the days. And the second thing I want to bang this home every chance I get. This is the second black man killed by the New Rochelle Police Department since George Floyd. George Floyd's supposed to be that level where, not never again. You know what I'm saying?
That
And this is the
can't happen
second.
anymore. Right.
Right, this is the second in New Rochelle since George Floyd.
And to add on to that, I seen a video right after the incident of George Floyd, peace be upon him, and you had the mayor, the city councilman, you had different clergy, right? You had different community activists on the steps of City Hall. However, this happened right in your front yard.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everybody silent.
Exactly.
You have nothing to say in reference to what happened. 8 months later, we asked some very important questions. How often are officers, once they're in the field, do they get psychologically evaluated? How often do they get sensitive training dealing with race? Yet again, nothing. Nobody wants to talk. They lawyered up now.
Because they're not doing it. Like brother, this is our first time meeting. I've been in law enforcement for 33 years. I retired August. And I've been addressing this in Westchester County for the last 20 years. So they do not train police officers in de-escalating in mental health.
Right.
And we've been fighting for that. Even after the death of Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., the only thing we got out of it was the crisis response team. And
who wasn't called that day.
Who wasn't even called that day.
New Rochelle opted into the program, but they weren't called, and that's who should have been on the scene that day.
They should have been. New Rochelle opted into the crisis response, but whatever reason, they never called the crisis response for your son, which they should have.
Yes, they should have. And to add on to that, me being me, doing my due diligence, I did some research. It just so happens a month before, Stephen Kahn, the one who shot my son, he just got promoted to detective on June 9th.
Mm-hmm.
One of his accolades, supposed to be certified in crisis prevention.
Really?
Yes.
Seriously?
Okay. Yes. Okay, so how is that?
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy because the female officers was doing a better job than he did.
Most definitely.
They were from the video I saw, they were de-escalating the situation.
Yeah, it was apparent he had a different agenda. Unfortunately, he had a different mindset. Like I said, it's been 8 months. January 12th of 2024. Last month, I spoke to one of the investigators from the Attorney General's office, and again, it's still ongoing. But it's just disturbing because this is a reoccurring event in our community.
Absolutely.
Every time you turn on the TV, you turn on the news, one of our people are getting killed by a police officer hiding behind a badge.
Exactly.
And then they go out, what I'm saying, on the taxpayers' money,
mm-hmm.
What I'm saying, administrative leave.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
It's unbelievable.
And we never corrected the sad thing is we never correct the situation when we have the opportunity to correct the situation. And this was I was speaking earlier about, Black people voting for these politicians that literally do nothing for them. You can't be over a Black community, and I don't care if it's New Rochelle, if it's Mount Vernon, if it's Greenberg, and y'all don't have any type of accountability and transparency of your police department.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't make sense. You have mayors that have refused to put in civilian complaint review boards, so we're able to track the actions of these police officers. The people that live in the city, they have the right to do it because they are the taxpayers. They're the ones that's paying for these officers. I don't care. Look, my wife is a detective in Mount Vernon. I come from a family of law enforcement, whether it's down south, my mother and my father's side. But at the end of the day, there has to be professionalism and transparency and accountability.
Right.
But the problem is the ones we vote for, the ones we put in office, they get in there and they don't do the right thing.
Because they have their own agenda.
Exactly.
You know, and a lot of them, unfortunately, they sell their soul for $1.
Exactly.
You know, so
Exactly.
they get in bed. You know what I'm saying? And it's listen, it's you do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
that's how that goes down. You know, you're not gonna find that today. If you do, it's far few in between. A politician that's for the people. You know, it's just outright. It's disappointing, man. It's disgusting, man. You know, you sit there for 4 years and you ride it out. You say you do nothing for the people.
Exactly.
You know, the neighborhood that I grew up in, it's the eyesore now. You know, but outside of that, you know what I'm saying, they building it up.
Right.
But here you have these people who's been elected for that district. What are you doing for the people? You know, you're not speaking out. You know what's happening here.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah, as you know, I know District 3 well. You know my cousins, Richard and Roland Dixon. I spent a lot of time. I have family in 33. I used to go to St. Catherine. You know what I'm
right,
saying? I have family that went to other two Baptist churches on that block. I spent a lot of time in Lincoln Park, like, you know what I'm saying, in the boys club and on Webster Avenue. So I know that. I tell people I graduated from UCLA, the University of the corner of Lincoln Avenue.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm very familiar with that area, and it's like, yo, like you said, they're building up everything around it, the downtown business area, New Rock City, all that. You know what I'm saying? And they are not handling. They're not doing enough for District 3. You know what I'm
Absolutely
saying?
not.
And no disrespect to the elected officials, you know, because I supported some of the elected officials that were there and that are there now, but more needs to be done. And the people need to vote for it. Like you got to hold these people accountable. You know, and we need to ask for stuff. The George Floyd case, one of the things that they had in that police department was a duty to intervene, and that needs to be in all departments in Westchester County. That means, like, if me and you was cops and you act in the ass, I'm like, yo, no, my brother,
Right,
you're not gonna
right,
get me jammed up and stop you.
Right.
And if I don't, I get prosecuted with you.
Right.
When you start doing that, then you're gonna have cops be like, yo, you're not messing up my pension.
Right.
There you go with accountability.
Exactly. Well,
You gotta hold them accountable.
I know that corrections, we had it put in our policies, our use of force policies. I think Mount Vernon has something similar. I don't know about New Rochelle, but what I can say, you know, is that the New York State Attorney General Tish James dropped the ball when all police departments under former Governor Cuomo had to do a police review of their police departments, and all the reports had to be sent up to the AG's office, and she was supposed to compile the best practices for all New York State police departments. I know this for a fact because I was on the review panel for Westchester County Police. So when Cuomo got caught up and had to resign, the Attorney General's office never followed through on it because legally they didn't have to because it was executive order. So once that governor is gone, they don't have to follow those executive orders. But we should call for her when somebody asks what can we do. One of the things is to follow through with that, right? She is the top cop for the whole New York State. And she has the power to send down recommendations and hold police departments throughout New York State with those recommendations. Because if you don't do it, guess what's going to happen? We're going to start cutting grants.
Cut your
If you don't cut funding to your police departments because you're not following through with these recommendations. See, a lot of times we don't know the nuances, and we need more communication with conscious law enforcement to talk about things like this. And Sister said, we gotta get on the phone and call Tish James and ask her what is she doing about it, because she just can't come on TV all the time and talk about Trump when black men are being shot at and killed by law enforcement throughout the state of New York.
The governor needs to be called too.
Right. And the next step is, brothers and sisters, you know, if your mayor, I know that New Rochelle has a city manager.
Right.
Right. And he's kind of insulated, right? Because I believe he gets appointed by the city council. But y'all, if they're not doing the right thing, y'all got to start voting them out. Right? It goes back to the power of our vote, that we have to change it. It doesn't make any sense that we have democratic cities in Westchester County that don't have proper oversight of their law enforcement in 2024. After all the George Floyds, after the killing of Detective Ridley, Kenneth Chamberlain,
Henry.
Danroy Henry, brother New Rochelle Ortiz, right? Right. So there's not one major city police department in Westchester County that doesn't have a questionable shooting. And nothing literally happened to no cop.
Yeah, Mount Vernon, you had NYPD come through and have a shootout with some gangsters, and an old man that was a bus driver, he got killed.
Yo, that was crazy.
On his block, in front of his house, like in a residential area, dude. Like, we were one of the only ones that carried the story. Like, dude.
Exactly.
I mean, like, dude, they had an open shootout with the dude, and dudes in front of his house and got killed. Kenneth Chamberlain said, duty intervened is already in the departments, it's just not enforced.
Okay.
Then we need to be speaking what Damon just said. Those who are the ones who appoint the police commissioners, we need to be putting pressure on them.
Right.
If the police commissioner is not doing it, then the police commissioner needs to be removed.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the police commissioner is not removed, you need in some cities the mayor appoints a police commissioner.
Right. You need to remove the mayor.
Don't remove that police commissioner. You remove the mayor.
Right. That's what I said. Whoever is the one who appoints,
clear on that.
Whoever is the one who appoints in Rochelle, they need to be removed.
Exactly.
And if they're not removed, the people who put him in place, they need to be removed. So if it's your city manager that's put in place by your city council, and your city council don't do it, then everybody need to remove their city council people for some people that's going to do it, and put somebody in place that's going to do it. Like, that's the power you have. You vote these people in. Your taxpayer, your dollars pay their salaries. Whether it's elected officials or the police department or the fire department or any of these people, you pay their salaries and you vote them in. They can't get in office without you.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand. Every other community understands that. And they demand things change in their community, or these people don't get in office.
Right. And this is not anti-police. I don't want nobody.
Right. Again.
Right. Oh, well, this is accountability for you. You have a job, right? You swore to protect, serve. You took on the oath. You took the oath to protect the New York State Constitution and the Constitution of the United States. And then
and your
you go out here and you're paid by the taxpayer, your benefits, right? Your salary, and depending on what police department is, your uniforms and all that whatnot, all the good, you get all the good equipment, all paid by the taxpayers, right? Now you walking around looking like the Terminator on the corner, right? But all that's paid by the taxpayers. So you don't, for some that don't feel that they have accountability when they do not follow their training or their policies, that they're not accountable for that, you need to quit the job. Because see, if anybody in the real world, you go to IBM and you cost IBM $3 million because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, you're fired the next day. So you got some cops that walk these streets and they done cost the city $4 or $5 million in lawsuits, and they still got a job. And you expect the community to respect you? Oh, come on, man. We got it twisted. But we're not holding elected officials accountable. There's a lot of good cops out there.
Absolutely.
But it's the few. It's the few that mess it up for everybody. And then nobody wants to say anything. Everybody wants to be scared. I used to tell them at my job, listen, I got a t-shirt that say I'm telling. I'm telling. Because you're not going to mess up. You're not going to jam me up and mess up my pension. I don't work 33 years hard for because you foolish. I'm going to tell. And it's and that's what being a law enforcement officer. This is not that the people out on the street that commit crimes. There's brothers and sisters in blue commit the same crime. Look at this last correctional officer got arrested because he was doing home invasions. What kind of craziness is that?
Unbelievable. But yeah, too, there's a breakdown for is the relationship with law enforcement in the communities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't get to know people of the community, unless it's on unfortunate terms or somebody gets arrested, a domestic call, something along that line. But how you gonna build a rapport if every time you call, you come in there on 100?
Exactly. That's because you get a lot of officers that are afraid to get out the car or even talk to Black people, and that's why you also got to promote hiring within the community. Now, I'm not sure like how many Black officers do or people that actually live in those communities, work for New Rochelle Police Department.
And that was the question that I asked the day of the protest, as well as when we spoke with the city of New Rochelle.
Yeah.
What percentage of your officers are actually from the community?
Exactly. I've been screaming that for over 20 years, man. And to the fact that we have to monitor that, because you can't have community policing without police that live in the community.
Exactly.
You can't do it. All that other stuff is just some programs that somebody just put together, found online, and they said, "Yo, well, let's put this out here. Let's do a dancing contest." All that silliness that some of these police departments be doing that's talking about community policing, and it's not. Community policing is, number one, the community having say-so in how their communities are policed. The Black community is the only community in the nation that don't have a say-so on how their community police. They don't go in the Italian neighborhood doing that. They damn sure don't go in the Jewish neighborhood.
Absolutely not.
Some Jewish neighborhoods, they ain't even allowed in. They gotta sit at the border and discuss what they coming in for.
That's right.
Right? They don't do it in the Asian community, right? They just do it in the Black and brown community. So those are the things we have to have say-so in how our communities police. And if those mayors and police commissioners or city council people don't feel that way, then you vote them out and you put some new ones in. That's going to feel that way. And you have to change the culture, because the police department, they are city employees. They're not a separate entity, right? They're no different. They're no different than the guy that mops. He has to have the same responsibility to city policies as the police do. You're not extra. You're a city employee, and you should be held accountable.
One of the things we were demanding answers for, and we need to get back to it, and I talked to your nephew Rodney, and I talked to Reverend Hollis, and I talked to Yadira. So New Rochelle opted into this crisis program thing, like that comes out when there's an issue like this, as opposed to when and I never got a demand, and I talked to the store owner too. He didn't answer my questions. When the store owner called the police, did he say that he believed that the individual might have, an issue?
Right.
And did he articulate that to the 911 operator? And if so, because we never got access to the 911 call.
Right. We never got access to that call.
But if so, what was the policy of the 911 operator to call the crisis people, or just dispatch the police? Like those are questions that we've been asking that we haven't got answers to yet, from the city, from the government, from the police department. I can't even get the store owner to tell me what he said on the phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we and we've been busy but we need to get back into that, and we need to find out, because there was a breakdown, because Yadira told me up to that time the city had used that crisis what's it called, Damon? The crisis, what's it called?
The crisis intervention team.
Used the crisis intervention team a few hundred times before July in New Rochelle. So what was the problem this day?
Right.
Where was the breakdown this day?
Yeah, what was the breakdown then?
Right. And one importantly, what did the store owner say? Somebody just robbed my store, come here? Or supposedly, according to him, telling Journal News and other people, he wouldn't talk to us. He said that he believed that the person had an issue, or maybe, a mental issue or whatever. If that was said, then the 911 operator, what did they do? Why didn't they dispatch the crisis intervention team?
Right.
Why? And if so, what was the process? Even with the cops coming, well, we also called the crisis intervention team. They'll be there in 10 minutes. So they knew to act accordingly until they got there.
Right.
None of these answers, Black Westchester has not got the answer to any of these. And the administration's changed, the mayor's changed, you got some new city council people, and we're gonna get back into all of that. We're gonna get back, we're gonna get answers to all those questions. We're not gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? Until we get some answers to those questions.
Yeah, because that's my issue too. I know that they have lawyered up, so they have pretty much a gag order. They're not going to speak in regards to the incident. But at the same time, what's the purpose of Citizens Be Heard every month on the first Tuesday of the month if you're not going to answer the questions?
Well, let me stop you right there. This is what I told Yadira when she was still, before she won the mayor race. When she won she won the primary, but she, still had to run to November, right?
Mm-hmm.
As councilwoman of that district, don't ask the question, what happened in this case? Ask the question, what is the policy for when you have a situation? What does, and it's a call in the 911, just a general question, not that case, but general. And what is the duty of the 911 dispatcher? That what's the process? And I ain't get the answer to that question either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the process? I know you can't speak on this because you got, but you can tell me what your process is.
Right. What's the problem?
Right. And we haven't even been able to get the process, the policy, none of that.
So yeah, I highly appreciate you guys, allowing me the opportunity to use your platform.
No, anytime, brother.
Because I reached out to advocates in New York, nothing. You know, you're supposed to be you're supposed to be an activist of your community. What's happening?
Right.
You know, that's another thing too. That's an issue. It's a tendency to pick and choose. You know what you're going to partake in.
Right.
So
Right.
how can you benefit from this situation? That's what I see from my, you know what I'm saying, from my standpoint, this is what I'm seeing. You know, you have organizations that say this is what we built this for, this is what this was established for. But when something occurs that you're supposed to oppose, you're supposed to be speaking out against, you're supposed to be vocal about it, you're not.
Right. Right.
You know, or you have vocal restraints. You know, you gotta stick to the script. Don't go outside the script. You know.
You know what's worse than that though? When we were talking about, so before Hendo's brother was killed, there was a big march in New Rochelle for George Floyd because it was like days after, a week after George Floyd, and all across Westchester there was marches and protests and rallies for George Floyd. Before that, everybody had a hoodie on saying, "I am Trayvon Martin." We can, with these situations that thousands of miles away, oh, we got all the words, we got all the everything, you know what I'm saying? But we never fight for the ones that's in our backyard. Yo, Kenneth Chamberlain is on. He was trying to get people to come for a rally. People was like, yo, but that's the same time as the football game. Like real talk, like, yo, dude, like,
right. Senator
you know,
Kenneth Chamberlain,
when
he's
it's
responding and he's saying that the Westchester Coalition police reform is with you, brother. So Kenny's on. He's watching the show.
Thank you, my brother.
And they held a rally in White Plains that Rodney and
my sister,
yeah, all of them. I met them because they introduced themselves to me because I spoke that day too. So yeah, they've been definitely, and he spoke to the family that was there, you know, about some of his experience and stuff like that. And he also said it's been 6 months since Jarrell's death, and the AG needs to announce if there's going to be a true bill or not. Like, I mean, like for real, like you just not, you know. My problem is in these situations, you know, the community gets outraged a little bit, and this is and white people know, and they know this about us. We get mad. We might march a little bit. We might even break some shit up. You know what I'm saying? But eventually, then we go about life, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right back.
You know what I'm saying?
Right back to the knobs.
They just gotta wait us out. Ain't nobody still talking about it now. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's talking about it now? So we need to continue talking about it. We Black Westchester, we make sure that these situations, big and small, don't get swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying? Every year on the anniversary, we have something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, we've been standing there, and there's very few people like why are we still talking about it? Because no justice was done.
That's
or,
right. That's
like Kenneth Chamberlain said, it's not even justice at this point. It's just accountability. You know what I'm saying? Like, no accountability. You know what I'm saying? So then, you know, they think, okay, you know, some of the cases, the family might not have a lot of money, and then, you know, they offer you, you know, throw 6-7 figures at you, whatever, and they think it's done. There's no accountability. Nobody paid for your son being nobody paid for the taking of the life of your son. Nobody lost their job. Nobody, no elected officials got unvoted for. Nothing has happened in the city.
Nothing has changed.
The store got to open back up and still doing business, and Black people are there back in there going to get their stuff in there again.
Money with them.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like so you know, we have to. That's why I keep bringing these things up. That's why, and I told you when you ready to talk, you holler. And you called me and you said, I'm ready to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave you your space. I didn't want to bother you every week. You know what I mean? I just told you I was there. I told you I'm there. Here's my number. I'm there. You know,
But yeah, it's just disturbing, man, because we the only race of people, man, that's subject to what we subject to and just good with it, you know, until it's in their living room, you know, and it's unfortunate. Why wait until it happens to one of your loved ones?
Right.
You know, then you want to reach out to me or someone else who experienced something similar and ask, well, how did you get through it, or what did you do? What's the process? You know?
But they wouldn't stand with you when you was going through
absolutely not.
But they expect you to. Kenny Chamberlain gets the same thing. It's what, 12 years now? Was it been 12 years since his father?
Yeah.
12 years. He's still, something happened, he the first one they looking for. But most of those people were never there for him. They were never there, ever there. You know,
Unbelievable.
so we're gonna keep your son's name alive. We're gonna keep this thing going. We're gonna make sure I communicate with Rodney a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because he's local. You know what I'm saying? Like to let me know anything I need to know. You know, your nephew, because he's the family member whose number I have. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So my man Black, I think I call him Cole Black or whatever they call him in the street. He gave me Rodney's number. So, I've been talking to Rodney. I've been talking to Reverend Hollis a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking to him. And I know the William Wagstaff still your lawyer, right? Is that still the lawyer?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been communicating with William Wagstaff and trying to make sure he updates me on everything. So we're gonna keep the name alive. We're gonna keep the fight going with y'all. We're not going to let them drop the ball and sweep us under the table. You're not giving up, and as long as you're not giving up, we're not giving up. We there with you.
It's not in me.
Right.
I'm not built like that. I'm not folding, man. That's not in me, man.
But what I also got to give you props that day when we was at. Not only did you tell everybody to calm down, Hendo was ready to set it off on them cops. He was like, "Nah, we're not doing that today. We're not doing that today."
Because that's what they want.
That's what they want. But I'm just saying, it would have been understandable if you let that happen. Like you can understand if you was on some real this Black Westchester.
That's the thing too, right?
Real, if you was on some fuck the police shit, people, it would be understandable. But you're still not like that. You're still trying to fight it the right way.
I have a different mindset, and it comes with age. And going through what I went through. And with that being said, I just know, if they do things according, to their laws, then there has to be some accountability here.
Right.
There's no getting around it.
Right.
And you mentioned it's been going on since back in the days with Brother Flowers that they killed over by the KFC back in.
We killed Alvin, peace be upon him.
Yeah.
Lester Gordon. Then there's Kamal Flowers, and now my son.
Right.
But then you also got to be mindful. There's a different set of individuals who become police officers. Some become cops because they're patriotic. Some, like the Irish, it's family tradition,
Right.
But then you have some that hide behind a badge so they can just kill us off and get away with it. Because that's what they're seeing.
They don't see nobody going to jail for it.
Ain't nobody going to jail for it.
My brother Corey always used to say, once they start seeing cops walking the perp line, once they stop seeing cops missing mortgage payments and because they suspended and they lose their jobs, once they see cops going to jail, you're going to start thinking about, well, damn, is it? You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a whole different... But as long as you don't see nobody going to jail, really, like George Floyd was the anomaly because we saw it so much they had to do something. They had to do something in that case.
Right.
But how many been not taking, not having consistent since then? So
let me tell you something. They know who are the bad apples. They know. It's not hard to tell who are the assholes. Excuse my French. It's not hard to tell. I could point him out. When I worked there, this guy, you could just tell this guy right here is going to get in trouble down the line. This guy right here is going to get in trouble. This guy right here, he going to go on the block and get beat up soon because of their attitude and how they talk to people and their swagger and their character. You could tell. It's just a matter of time. So a lot of times when you look at these guys, if you pull their jacket, they always been problem cops.
Even before this dude was a cop.
We killed a dog or something?
He ran up on a bus with kids on it, beat the bus driver up.
Who, the cop?
Yes.
Before he was a cop.
He should have never been a cop.
Exactly.
And killed the dog or something like that.
And then after that, once he was a cop with Newark Police Department, he shot a dog.
Killed it. Not shot. Yeah.
You see?
He shouldn't even been a cop.
So how was he even on the force?
Did you check? Let me me say that a little thing that they do. Need to check his psychological, because sometimes these guys be failing psychologicals, and because who they know or what they know, or just because white is right, they let him go through.
Yeah, they give him a pass.
Exactly. Make sure you get his psychological test.
Okay.
Because if he did all that before he got the job, and they knew, he should have never been a cop.
Right.
He should have never been. He should have never been a cop.
But like you say, it's who you know. Your skin tone.
Exactly.
So what is the status now? I know they were all three were put on administrative leave with pay. What is their status now? They're back to work because you can't.
Nah, they still on leave. They still on leave
So
tomorrow.
they've been on a leave with pay for 8 months.
Exactly. Taxpayers' money.
Yeah, that's a problem too.
Taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
So they're home getting paid.
Yeah. They get mailbox money right now. That's what they're getting. Wow. They get mailbox money right now.
Without having to be on the streets, without having to deal with nobody, they just getting a check. Like,
yeah, direct deposit. No, don't put no work in.
Yeah, I have a problem with that too.
It's like I said, I'm just thankful that I have the mindset that I have now. At the end of the day, and the support that I've received since this happened, man.
Shout out to LaShawn. You mentioned LaShawn from Sugar Plum.
Yeah,
Shout out to LaShawn. Yeah,
absolutely.
Her family. Like you mentioned, Rodney.
Somebody in common too. I think we know somebody in common. Ron Claxton.
Yeah.
That's my dude, man. Okay. That's my dude. Tell him you was on my show. Be like, yo, that's my guy. Yeah, that's my dude, man.
Yeah.
For years.
But yeah, man. We just can't let this be swept underneath the rug.
No.
So for people listening, what can they do around the county? New Rochelle, what can people? Because then people always ask, well, what can we do? What can I do to help keep it alive?
Well, for starters, they can contact the Attorney General's office. And, as a concerned citizen, what's going on with the investigation of Jarrell Garris? It's been 8 months, And that number is 212-416-8147.
416-8147?
Yep.
Okay.
And the other one is 212-416-6375. And those two numbers are the two investigators that's responsible for my the investigation of Jarrell's case.
Okay.
But outside of that, spread the word. Westchester alone. Like I said, it's just been a reoccurring event. You turn on the news and someone looking like us has been shot and killed.
Right.
And then they go home on paid administrative leave and get a check. While the family suffers, man. And another thing I want to add, for me, it ain't about the money. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna bring my son back. Money don't move me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That don't move me. I want justice for my son, bottom line. I want accountability. I want him charged, and go through the process.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He violated his human rights. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh man, you shot him down, you executed him like a dog, man. A headshot.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Come on, man. Broad daylight.
That's the other thing I wanted to talk. So we saw the first video that they released, which was everything before the shot. They don't show the shot or nothing like that. I think he said he's got a gun, and then that cuts off.
Right.
Then the AG released a more revised one that showed a little more. But y'all were able to. Were you were able to see the whole thing with the
Yeah,
agent?
but once I seen him get hit, once I seen him get shot, I didn't want to see anymore. You know, that was enough for me. You know, because like I told the investigators, no human being should be subject to what my son was subject to.
Absolutely.
You know, it's unacceptable. No, you take an oath to serve and protect. You know, you could not notice that he was in a crisis situation. You know, and then for you to just throw out these, these trigger words,
Right.
tase
And
them, shoot
the
them,
first female officer at some point referred to him by name.
right?
Like, oh, she called his name, like, and she was trying to talk to him, and as far as I'm concerned, she did what she was supposed. Even the other female cop, when he came on, they were talking. It wasn't until Khan came up on the scene and then threw cuffs on him right away. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yo, you know, and they had
It
his
was.
hands, and the other cop had his other hand. So I don't know what he was supposed to be grabbing a gun with, because one hand was cuffed by one cop, and one hand, and according to the video I saw, was being grabbed by the other cop, and then there was a tussle or whatever. But they had his hands. What was he grabbing it with?
There was
What
no
did he grab it?
aggression.
Yeah,
There was no aggression until Stephen Khan came on the scene, man. You
right.
know, and that's why I said what I said. I want justice for him. Bottom line.
Those are the numbers that he just gave you. Put them back up, Damon. Those are the numbers that he just gave y'all. Those are the investigators at the AG's office. If you're watching this, everybody call the AG's office and find out. It's been 8 months, and what's the status of the case? Like, what y'all, is he going to be? Are the cops going to be charged or what? So
Right.
that's one thing that everyone watching and everybody who will watch the video later can do, and make that happen.
No doubt.
Listen, videos and pictures may be hard to look at, my brother, but remember, you have to put it out there. They are counting on you not wanting to do that. That's what Kenneth Chamberlain said to you.
And Tom, I thank you. Thank you, Kenneth.
He said, I know it will hurt, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you need, brother. We're there, man. You don't have to worry about it. Whatever, if you want to write an op-ed and put it in the paper on your positions and how you feel, and man, we're here, brother.
Okay.
It's not a problem, man.
Kwame Dixon put his comment up. Exactly, Kwame Dixon. Exactly, the two female officers told Khan to relax. They had it, and he didn't listen.
Right.
That you can see that on the video too. They told him, "We got this,"
right?
And he still was aggressive. Shout out to Kwame Dixon. Shout out to Phil
and
Rise
then after he shot, one of the female officers questioned, like, "What'd you do that for?"
Oh yeah, because he said he got your gun or something. She's like,
he ain't got my gun. My gun's right here. Like, what's wrong with you?
She has her gun and it's still clipped, and he don't have the gun. And that was after, like, he tried to. This after the shot. You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't be me. I would have called supervisors immediately. He did it. He did it. Yeah, but nah, my gun is right here. He ain't have no gun. He ain't have my gun. He ain't have my partner's gun. He did it. He did it. Listen, he did it. He did it. Straight music.
And they told him, and then he was telling the girls to tase him, and she pulled the taser out, but then she thought about it, like, why am I tasing him? He's on the ground. Like, why? She didn't tase him. Like, he was like, tase him, tase him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. His approach from the vehicle to Jarrell was off. Right. He jumped right out the car, like, and came.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
He was 100 off top.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
I want to thank everybody who is tuning in. We got we got Phil Rosman checking out the show.
Well, I see Phil. What's up, Phil? What's going on, Phil?
Lohan and WVOX.
Yeah. What's going on, man? I miss you, man. I miss those conversations.
Well, any last words you want for the people? Anything you want to
I just want them to keep my son's name alive, you know, and keep my family in prayer for the most part, as well as myself.
Absolutely.
You know, and they gotta be a voice for those who can't speak.
Right.
They no longer allow us, you know what I'm saying, they're unable to speak. They gotta be the voice, man.
Right.
You know, you see injustice, you gotta speak out against it.
Exactly.
You know, because to say or do nothing at all is the weakest of faith, the weakest of as you being a man.
That's right.
You know, we quick to want to, you know what I'm saying, do one another something, man. When you see something like that, come on. It wouldn't have happened on my watch.
Right.
That would never went down like that. Anybody that know me, like I said, you know, I held my community down.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't happening.
Brother William Wagstaff texted me. He said, as always, I appreciate y'all having the necessary conversations. Somebody, Stanford and Pat Bennett said
My sister.
NAACP support. The NAACP in New Rochelle was out there. The president, Mark, he was in the hospital, but the vice president stepped up. Her name, I'm trying to find her name real quick. She stepped up. Aisha Cook, yeah, she was out there. She was at the marches. She was up there. So I was trying to get the other NAACP branches to come out and support. They can't. You got to let New Rochelle do what it's going to do, but they should have come out and support New Rochelle as a.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Let me say this, right? When I talk about vocal restraints,
right,
there you have it. You know, I commend Aisha Cook, you know what I'm saying, for her support. You know, but at the same time, you know, she had restraints put on her.
Right. I'm the vice president of Mount Vernon, and I went through this whole thing. Like, I would have to write a statement, then I have to give it to my president, and my president got to approve it, and the president got to give it to the regional director, and then the regional director got to approve it. You know what I'm saying? So I just contacted the regional director straight up.
NAACP, but
I just contacted the regional director straight up and got a quote from the regional director, and I read it at the White Plains rally that they had.
One of my nephews just got awarded by the NAACP back in November, right? And the president, he's commending the chief of police, and then the next breath he's mentioning my son. Come on, man! Like, stop playing. Stop playing, man.
I can't, man. I can't.
That's exactly.
I can't. I'm not even gonna say nothing. I can't, man. We got.
That's why I said I commend Aisha. Aisha stepped up when
Right. You know, most definitely. I give her, flowers. I highly appreciate her, man.
But when he got back, he wanted to make sure that she stepped back, though. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah. But again, if you stand against oppression and injustice of our people, come on, man. Whatever your personal feelings are, or whatever they may be, you supposed to put that to the side, man.
Oh shit! What happened to AJ? Oh man, yo, you gotta come back on, AJ. Yo, what happened? Yo, what happened to goddamn AJ?
People before politics.
yeah, absolutely. Yo, let me call him. Tell AJ you gotta come back on. I don't know what happened to the brother. I don't know what happened to him, but he got to come back on. Let me text him. Oh, here you go. Here you go. All right.
Yo,
now you in the big screen. Now you in the guest screen, man.
They've been messing with me. They've been messing with me online. Last week we had a show, and Facebook disactivated my account.
Yeah. Listen. My closing, they're gonna try to do that. I got a closing coming up. They're gonna try to deactivate it. So yeah, man, we got your back, brother. What all wait. All that political posturing, these elected officials want to impress me. Let's see the true bill. in the killing of this man's son. Yep.
Absolutely.
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 Well, you got my number. Rodney got my number. Reverend Hollis got my number. Keep me abreast of everything that's going on, every
I
update,
will.
and wherever I can be. You know, I've been at most of them things. If I can be there, I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? So,
All right.
Yeah, I'm back in action, man. I live upstate, but I'm back in action to come down and and let's do the damn thing. You
All
know,
right.
let's do the damn thing, man. You know, I'm there, bro. We got your back. You know, Black law enforcement stands with you. I'm the New York representative of Black Law Enforcement of America, and we stand with you. So, you know, whatever we could do, you know, to support you, any questions about policy or everything, we there, man, because we've been pushing, you know, these issues, and just like AJ said, it, you know, it's out front, and and then they give us the and then they give us the quiet treatment,
Right.
you know, and they don't do anything, you know, and they always expect us to go away. But you know what? The crazy thing, what happens is because they don't address it, it happens again.
right.
Exactly.
You know, and it's unfortunate.
And they expect us to go away because that's what we do. We go back to business as usual. Like I
Yeah.
said, no disrespect to anybody, but there's black people, because I drove by there. There's black people go in the community, go into that store and shopping in that store. I've seen it.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, I'm not even talking about what somebody told me. I drive up North and Lincoln all the time. I seen them in there. That store's doing business. You know what I'm saying? Like, the local,
right.
He hasn't missed a beat.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right. And
Right.
some local pastors, and they got mad at my article. They gave them the go ahead to do it. And from what I understand, none of them represent the family.
And this is
Or
what
have
I'm
spoke to
talking
you.
about. Nah.
And yeah, I got flack from a few people about that, but and then the publicity, the store had a publicist. The publicist called me talking about how can I write this without talking to the store. I called the store. When I called the store, somebody answered the phone, and I told them who I was and what I wanted. I got put on hold for like 3 minutes, and then the store owner answered the phone, and all of a sudden it was like he couldn't speak English, and he didn't have much to say, and then hung up the phone. Yo, he was like, yo. But I'm saying you couldn't do that. I got a store around the corner for me. That couldn't happen around the corner. We not shopping in that store. Like Martin Luther King said, we got to redistribute the pain, our dollars and our votes. We need to
That's it.
redistribute the pain.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
And if there's some major projects going on in New Rochelle, that's where people need to protest, where they can't do work no more until the city do something. They putting up a big building or something, they should protest and shut that building down
Shut it
until,
down.
you know what I'm saying, until the city enacts something. Like, you want to get people's attention, that's how you got to get it. You know, they let you march from one side of town to the other. They let you have a protest or something. Like I said,
Yeah. But when you start hitting them in the pockets and
Right.
shutting their projects down, it's a different story.
They let you break up shit in your own neighborhood,
Right.
then arrest you. You know what I'm saying? But they let you do it. You know what I'm saying? But yo, you know, we have to step up as a people.
As a people.
We have to step up. Ain't nobody gonna respect you more than we respect ourselves. Ain't nobody gonna do stuff for you that you ain't demanding them to do. Ain't nobody ever did nothing for us that we ain't had to fight for. Ain't nobody did nothing because it was the right thing to do ever in this country. Ever. So how bad you want it? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all want it? Because it'll happen again. Nendo's brother happened right after George Floyd. Then this happened a couple years later. There's a second one in New Rochelle since George Floyd. It's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
Then we gonna do what? Say the whole thing all over again, have the meetings, have the shows, have the protests, and then we go about business again. Anyway, that's my That's my little rant for the day.
All right.
Thank you, my brother. You
Thank
always
you,
welcome. You got a platform
Bless.
anytime you need it. You know
All
what I'm
right.
saying? Anything you need to get out, you let us know, bro. We here
Will
for you.
do.
All right.
All right,
And
brother.
you see, Kenneth been telling me thank you, man.
He can hear you. He's watching. He's
He-
listening.
He's watching.
He's listening.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right, my brother.
All right, peace.
Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, man, we got to do better. We got to do better. We could, we could do, like, how many more times am I going to rant? Like someone said they love my rant. How many more times are we going to have rants on the radio and I'm going to do this and everybody's going to tell me I'm right and everybody's going to agree with me, but don't nothing change.
Right.
Like, I feel like sometimes, how many conversations have 10 years? 10 years, how many times have we had this conversation?
Right.
We had it with Kenneth Chamberlain. We had it with Delroy Henry's family. We had it with Jonathan Maldonado's family. We had it with Hendo. You know what I'm saying? We had it with Raymond's nephew, Rodney. You know what I'm saying? How many more times? Damn, where'd you go, Damon? They kicking us off.
Nah, I'm still here, man.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, yo, where'd you go? So, how many more times do we have to say this? How many more times do we have to keep doing the same thing? When are we going to step up and fight for it? You got to fight for changing legislation. We talk about Martin Luther King. It's Black History Month. Everything he did was about changing legislation. That was the ultimate goal. If you're not changing legislation, you're not doing nothing. You shut down people shut down the Brooklyn Bridge one day and have a die-in in Grand Central Station where nobody could do nothing. Guess what? Every day, the next day, everybody go to work and they don't think about you no more. We have to do more. One of the things, like the brother said, you could call the AG's office. Again, Black Westchester is fighting to find out where the breakdown was that day. What is the policy when there is a 911 call for someone who has mental issues? What is the 911 operator supposed to do from that point? These are answers that they're not answering. People in New Rochelle need to be calling. They need to be calling and asking these questions. People in New Rochelle need to be calling. You got a new mayor and 2 new city council people, at least 2 new ones. I know Shane has been on front. He's been on the show. He was on the show last week. He's been on the show. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we gotta step to everybody and demand answers. And don't give funds for legal actions and planning are needed. That's another thing. So Rob Wingate, he's fighting some stuff, and he been fighting for a while out there in Tarrytown and the river towns out there. He a good advocate. So shout out to Rob, and he's come out to New Rochelle and met us out there. He's come out to New Rochelle and met us out there. He's out there. He's out there every time, for the Kenneth Chamberlain thing, and he came out for the thing we did in White Plains. So shout out to him. Kwame Dixon, what is the policy when you already have 2 officers on the scene and the backup comes? Well, that's not the question. Is if New Rochelle has opted into the accountability, what is that thing called again? I'm sorry, the
crisis intervention.
Yeah, the crisis. If they've opted into that, and a caller calls in and says the person has mental issues, what does the 911 operator do? Do they activate the crisis team and the police? What do they do? What that's what needs to be known.
No. What he's talking about, what he's talking.
Oh, what is the process of when you have 2 officers?
Now, because he's a detective,
he's the higher ranker.
He's basically it's a lateral move, but he's a detective. He becomes the head person on the scene, right? The problem is he caused the chaos, because watching the videos, the female officers were actually de-escalating the situation. It didn't escalate to a physical situation until he came on the scene.
and grabbed his arm and put
and
handcuffs.
grabbed the man's arm, and I don't know, he was trying to do some move that usually taught in the academy that don't work.
Well, he grabbed him, handcuffed him, and that's when one arm,
right.
and that's when everything, the ruckus started.
Right, but he initiated the physical. He initiated the physical force. Right? They were not giving him physical force. They were de-escalating him from the situation. He moved it up to physical force.
Right.
So he has to be accountable. He has to be accountable that he's the one discharged his weapon.
And tried to lie on the narrative on camera.
No, yeah, exactly.
He tried to, and you see how some police work, right? Right there on Living Color. He told them to tase him at first, and you seen the female officers pull out the taser, but then was like, "Why am I tasing him? He's on the ground." You know what I'm saying? So she doesn't tase him, and then you hear him say, "Gun! He's got a gun!" And he stands over him and shoots him in his face. And then he tells the girl, "He got your gun." She goes, "No, my gun's right here." He was trying to create the narrative already on camera.
Look, they need to charge him, right? Because he didn't see any gun. He didn't have any gun. And then he tried to lie.
Right.
He should. It doesn't take that long. And then let the court decide.
And someone mentioned the district attorney because of the Cuomo initiative or whatever he put out. The district attorney was able to look into it for the whole week until he died. Once he died from the injuries by the police, it automatically goes to the AG's office. Right. So the Westchester District Attorney's Office has no power at that point. From that point on, once he died. So someone said we need a new DA.
No, we need a new AG. We need a new attorney general.
A new DA would not make the situation any better because the DA's office would have no power.
Look, we need a new attorney general. I know y'all like, oh man, she's a sister. Bump that. If she's not, whether she's a sister, a brother, or whatever, if they're not doing the job that they're supposed to do, they have to get out. She talks more about Trump than talking about these killings of Black men by law enforcement. So she can't. She's the head law enforcement officer of the state, and she's failing to do her job. I don't care how much Trump she talked. Ain't nothing happening to him, right? He's still winning. So what's the point? Have her address these issues with Black people being shot at and killed by police.
And she's failed us on governmental corruption too. And her predecessor had her
mess.
Her predecessor had it all lined up, threw the ball over the plate, and she bunted the ball and let the person get away.
I think I really, man, I'm starting to believe we got a Democratic Party cabal. Right? Because why all the time a politician is about to do the right thing, some scandal come up, make him resign? Because that's what happened with the first AG that's getting ready to drop
and no charges.
Exactly.
He wasn't charged with anything.
No.
I do respect that. He felt that because of the news of all of it, he didn't want it to be distraction to the office, so he willingly stepped down.
No.
But he hasn't been charged with anything.
No, he just disappeared. Poof.
Right. Yeah.
We ain't even seen him. And look with Cuomo, right? Cuomo, with everything that's going on with Eric Adams, right? The chatter of Cuomo running for New York City mayor, then poof, these charges come up out of the woodwork again with some female. The man's been out of the news. He's been quiet. He's been minding his business.
And there were six different investigations, and all the district attorneys and all of those counties and all of those investigations all refused to
right. And now all of a sudden the feds are picking it up. Well, if the DAs didn't pick it up, who referred it? Who referred it to the feds? The AG's office.
Well, I mean, a lot of people still feel, and she still won re-election. A lot of people felt that was just to move him out of the way because she wanted that
It
position.
was, but she couldn't. But she couldn't raise the money.
Right.
See, you can't be. She failed politics 101 as a candidate. She got in there because of Cuomo. The money that was raising was coming from Cuomo's people. You're not going to move him out of the way and think you're going to go back to the donors and get the money. It doesn't work like that. Especially for no black woman. There ain't no black woman in politics gangster like that. She gonna move out a second generation politician like Cuomo and think those same people are going to give you money. That's not.
And a lot of people
herself.
A lot of people liked him. A lot of people. He had a big support, and definitely since the bar was set low on the federal level, he showed what leadership was like with the whole COVID thing. He had regular press conferences that I didn't see on New York news stations. I saw on MSNBC and CNN shown to the country because we had no leadership on the federal level. Like everybody was watching. Everybody was watching his press conference.
Well, not only that, but when you're New York City mayor or you're the governor of New York City, you have an international bully pulpit.
Oh, absolutely.
You have one of the most biggest speaker boxes in any other governor and any other mayor. New York City has a bully pulpit. So I mean, you use that to your advantage.
Right.
That's what got Eric in trouble talking about the migrants and they could come here. And Florida, Texas started sending them to them. Right? So sometimes it works for you and sometimes it works against you.
Yeah,
you just got to know the issue. You just got to know the issue that you're talking about.
The dude from Florida was spending taxpayer money to bust the ones in Texas up here. Like they wasn't in Florida. he was spending money to bust the ones in Texas up here. Like
this has created a total mess, man. And Eric's my man, and I love him to death. But bro,
and he been on the show and everything. Yeah,
God bless you. But I just wanted to finish off for everybody that's watching. Please go to blackwestchester.com. The latest article is George Lattimore was asked a question. Well, were all Muslims members of Hamas? And he refused to answer. And I'm writing this article because he brought me into this discussion on a Facebook page. And y'all could go to the Facebook page. The Facebook page is Westchester Black Political Conference. But also I have the screenshots here because I'm very transparent. And when I decide to have a conversation. So the thing is, there was a post that used I believe it was a NBC video and put George on front of it, questioning George about the actions against the people of Palestine. Because now that they're blowing up homes and residents, so now the people can't even come back. The people that are displaced by the war, they can't even come back. So the question was, does George support this? And if he's not going to denounce it, then he's Genocide George. And why Genocide George? Because the International Court of Justice ruled that there were a high possibility of genocidal acts, and they demanded
by Israel.
By Israel, they demanded Israel to refrain and also make records and report back in 30 days. So So the title on genocide is backed by the International Court of Justice, one of the highest international courts that we have in society. So the question to George was, do you agree with that?
Well,
hold on. Do you agree with it? And do you believe that all Muslims are part of Hamas?
Well,
George refused to answer. He said that these were attack pieces. Instead of answering a simple question, no, not all Muslims are part of Hamas. We have Muslims in Westchester County that are police officers, that are correction officers, that are doctors, that are EMS, that give work to the community of Westchester and CD 16. And you have the audacity not to say that not all Muslims are part of Hamas. That's like saying all black people are in gangs. You have to, if we're going to acknowledge October 7th, and I'll make it clear here, we denounce what happened on October 7th.
Absolutely.
But we also have to denounce the ongoing attacks, the ongoing murders, the ongoing bombing of hospitals, the ongoing bombings of mosques and Christian churches in Palestine. And the fact that the International Court of Justice called it what it was, genocide. And if you're going to denounce, if you're going to stand up for the hostages, we stand up for the hostages. But you also have to show some humanity for the people of Palestine that have been killed that had nothing to do with this. The children are not members of Hamas. See, we have to call it what it is, because over 40% of the money that he's getting is coming from groups like APAC that says community first, community before party. See, when black people say community before party, they make us apologize. And they say that's undemocratic. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't be pro-black. But when they say it, nobody says anything. See, we got to call it what it is today, because right now, people that are listening, they are re-registering Republicans into the Democratic Party. You don't believe me? Just Google it. You don't have to take Black Westchester's word for it. Other news outlets have already reported it. They're brazen in what they're doing. They have websites saying it. So this is Operation Oppress Black and Brown People's Votes in CD 16. And he's not denouncing that. And the fact that he dares not to say not all Muslims are part of Hamas. So it's disrespectful. He's disrespectful. And then what he's going to do, he's going to get some of these Negroes and stand around and just sell their soul. This is about humanity. This is about our soul. This is about people dying, not just on one side, both sides. We're not going to be one-sided in this. We don't support Hamas. We don't support no type of terrorism. But we respect the loss of life on both sides. And if you're not showing that respect, you shouldn't be representing the people all people in CD 16.
Well, before last week's show, I wrote an article, prelude to Sunday's show, addressing the attempted GOP coup of the Westchester Democratic Party. I put all the links to all the organizations in the story link, so you can read about all the organizations that are telling all their members for Republicans to change their party affiliation to the Democratic Party, and specifically with the agenda to vote Bowman out. I have to keep saying that this is bigger than Bowman. This is not a Bowman re-election bid speech or anything. Some people might just think George is a better candidate, then they should vote for him. But the Republican Party should not be able to interfere on the Democratic primary. The Democrats should vote for whoever they're going to vote for, and then that's the person. You know what I'm saying? So for those organizations, one APAC to say they put 1.6 million, and another one saying they putting all this money in, and they all, including the and if you go to the story, all the links are there, including a New Rochelle synagogue. One of the members sent an email to all the members in the synagogue, telling all the Republican members again to change their party affiliation to Democrat with a specific task of voting Bowman out.
And these are, and let me make something clear too. This is not a smear campaign. This is not an attack, as he calls it. Y'all could go to the website. Y'all can see the article. I put the screenshots up. I'm transparent. So this is not it's easy for them to say a smear campaign to try to get people not to listen to what's going on. We're not the only ones reporting it. And they're bold about it. So when we call it out, we're the ones carrying a smear campaign. And then you get people that get on the thread. And this is let me make this clear. This ain't in support of Jamal, but you get people that get on the thread, they don't even know what the hell they fucking talking about. They have no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah, one person put up there that Gaza's blockade blocking the stuff coming into Palestine.
Exactly.
It's not Gaza that has a blockade. Exactly. Israel, as one of the demand to get the hostages back, Israel has blocked all aid and humanitarian aid and all this stuff from going into Palestine. There's oil, fuel, food, humanitarian aid, all of that stuff. So I'm like, yo, if you're going to make comments, know what you're talking about, because to say Gaza is put a blockade for the humanitarian aid to get into Palestine, that is actually not true. They're the ones being, the blockade is against them because they have hostages, and until they give up all the hostages, they're not going to give up the blockade. That's what I mean, those are the facts. You know what I'm saying? So, like, listen, so, everybody is scared to be called anti-Semitic, so what happened, as Damon said, on October 7th by Hamas, the attack was horrendous. Let me just say that again. What happened on October 7th, the attack from Hamas, was horrendous. The attack on Israel and the innocent people that were killed, that was horrendous. In retaliation, there are equally innocent people in Palestine that are being killed. This is not anti-Semitic. It is not anti-Semitic to call this out. If you are human, if you are Christian, if you are whatever you want to call yourself, to only have empathy and compassion for one side, innocent people getting killed, and not having the same compassion for the innocent people on the other side, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what side you reside on, what process, what candidates, whatever. There are innocent people on both sides being killed. So they say Hamas is hiding in tunnels. Hamas is hiding among innocent people. Well, that's when you go in. Israel's supposed to have one of the best militaries. You go in, some hand to hand, some intelligence, and operations on the street, and you find ways to get them without killing innocent people. So what the international court is talking about, the killing of all these innocent people, the bombing of hospitals. Hamas don't run a hospital. The bombing of churches and synagogues. Hamas might hide in it, but they don't run the church or the synagogue. You're killing innocent people. People's houses were being bombed, and they were hiding these places of worship, and those places are getting bombed. Innocent people, children are dying. They show the babies that need medical attention that are dying because the hospital was bombed and they can't get medical attention. I don't know how you cannot feel for them. This does not make me pro Hamas. Stop with the rhetoric. And if you're going to call out the atrocities of one side and not call out the atrocities by the other side, then you're being a hypocrite. Now, I haven't said much about George Latimer other than he's being sponsored by all of these groups. But George, this is my word. This is AJ Woodson to George Latimer. Yes, there are there are a lot of Jewish people in Westchester County who have supported you for Senate and Assembly and all those other positions that you ever had. You are the county legislator. The makeup of the county, there is a Palestinian community in this county, and there's a heavy Muslim community in this county. And to only take the side of Israel without empathy of the Palestinian and Muslims in this county, who some have family members that they have lost due to this because of Israel's attack. That makes you a hypocrite. And I want to no this way. I want to be specific in my words. I'm not talking about all that rhetoric and all that other stuff that you tried to say or whatever. I'm putting out facts. You can't have empathy for one side and not the other. You can't call out one side and I don't care where you get your money from. You feel like that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But own it. Like, don't say, "Oh, this is not about Israel." Cuz we know politics. You're a career politician. You've been, this is what, 30 years? You don't get there that long without making some kind of deals, and you take some people's money and you got to answer their calls when they call. That's the way it works. You're not new to this.
Exactly.
So for me to say this, and again, this has nothing to do with whether Jamal wins re-election or not.
No, this is
my biggest thing is allowing the GOP to come in and as a Democrat, allowing the GOP to come in, put money into your campaign so you can unseat another Democrat. This is supposed to be undemocratic. Like, I used to do stories about certain things, and a lot of y'all would tell me that's not the Democratic way. That's not how the Democratic Party does.
Wait, remember
the Democratic Party is supposed to support each other.
Remember Andre took the Republican line just to stay in the election. He was still a registered Democrat, and they put him out to slaughter.
Right, but this is not the Democratic way. Democrats are supposed to support Democrats.
Exactly.
And then lastly, I get text messages. Well, it was okay for Jamal to primary Engel. You know what? Jamal ran a decent campaign, but what cost Engel his seat was his hot mic and his comments, and that made a lot of people that even supported him say, "Oh, he don't care about black and brown people." That's what cost him the election.
Because he said so.
He said it out his own mouth.
He said so.
It was a hot, like, he basically came to the Diaz Ruben Diaz Senior and Junior. They were putting on a function, and he wasn't on schedule. He wasn't on program. He said to let him speak. They said they got a whole schedule together. They will get him in where they can get him in. He came back again, asked him to let him speak. He said, "I told you." Then Ingalls said out of his own mouth, "If it wasn't for the election coming up,
I wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't even be." So, and then Ruben Diaz was like, "Wait, what did you say?" And then Ingalls said it louder so you can hear it even better on the mic. So that's enough of that. That's enough of that. But you know what I'm saying?
Listen,
and then, wait. Lastly, and there are some people, and this is true. I don't care what you want to label me. There are some people there's some Jewish people in Westchester, I didn't say all, who are still salty that he lost that race to Bowman. So they want to do anything to get him out of office.
Yeah.
That also is true. Multiple things can be true. What happened, what Hamas did, was horrendous. That is true. What Israel is doing in retaliation and the innocent people being lost on that side, that is true. Both things can be true. It's not one or the other, not multiple choice. So let's just when we're going to have arguments, if you're going to have fights and we're going to have debates, at least know what you're talking about. Let's argue I will welcome anybody to have any debate anywhere in Westchester, any organization to continue this conversation, but let's come with the facts. Let's stop. I know it's silly season. I know people draw lines and make temporary enemies over permanent enemies over temporary situations. Every time there's an election, I'm on this side, you on that side. We can't speak no more. That's bullshit. But I know it's that time of year again. I know that's what's going down. But miss me with the bullshit, though.
Listen.
That's all I have to say on the situation. And if y'all don't realize the GOP is trying to take over your party and y'all allow it, shame on you, and you get what you deserve.
I'm going to show you.
That's all I have to say, and I'm about to be out. But go ahead.
I'm going to show right now what it's all about, right? And this was from an organization called Jews for Peace, and this is a developer. This is a developer, and this was the flyer that was going around. A house on the beach is not a dream. And this is posted by a Jewish organization that thinks that this is disgusting. It's about taking their land. It's about taking their land. Now I'm going to show y'all something else, because y'all might think, oh, good old Damon just
Keep
talking.
I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Yeah, Damon is just talking foolishness. Let me bring up another one. Let me just bring up another one for you, because a lot of times people don't want to believe black press, right? They don't think that we're intelligent enough. But here, look, here we go. Look at this. This is the Wall Street Journal, everybody. This is the Wall Street Journal. Israel's far right plots a new Gaza without the Palestine. That's why they're destroying all the homes and hospitals and schools, so Palestinian people can't come back to, because they're having a meeting. Look, it's packed. It's packed. It's packed. See, and this is what George Lattimore is supporting. And if he doesn't support it, then tell him to put out a statement that he doesn't support this. put out a statement that he doesn't support it. This is what he's supporting. This is the Wall Street Journal. They're going after the land. And next week, I'm going to go even deeper in it, because not only that land is good, that land is rich in oil. See, but when you deprive somebody the right to take care of themselves, to have water, to have electricity, this is what's going down. So they can't even develop the technology to get the oil, but Israel can. And I don't want to hear anybody saying this is anti-Israel, because then if you're saying it's anti-Israel, I'm just going to tell you you're anti-black, because these are black and brown people over here. So call me that, I'm going to call you anti-black. And we could just go back and forth. But you're not going to stop us from educating our people on what's going on with international news, so they could be educated voters, because they have to understand, especially in District 16, what they're voting for. And this is what's going down. So we have to be really, really serious these upcoming elections, because they're not just trying to take out Jamal, they're trying to take out all black, all over the country.
And I'm gonna tell you what, those redistricting lines, whatever gets done in CD16 and the redistricting is going to affect several other districts in this in New York,
right?
And control of the House and all that. But I just want to say in closing again. So real talk, man. They've been fighting over this land since the days of the Bible. Since before Jesus, like BC, like way before the days of Jesus, they've been fighting for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. They've been fighting for this land, and it's not going to get solved. And if America is not careful, Israel is going to drag America into a world war. And there's already countries saying that there's some of the actions by Israel is genocide, and the American is co-signing it because they are funding it.
Well, ain't some of the people saying it, the international court said.
Right, that's what I'm saying. No, but other countries. They'll know there's other countries. That's what I'm saying.
And not only that, they're in court in California, in federal court, suing Joe Biden and the Biden administration for supplying the money and the weapons to Israel to commit the genocide that the International Court of Justice said they had committed.
And people got mad at Congressman Bowman and other members of the squad and other for demanding some kind of accountability on what the money to Israel is being spent on. And everybody's like, oh, he's against sending money to Israel. But y'all not saying nothing about all the Republicans that are calling for some kind of accountability on what all the money being going to Ukraine is at the same time, and not wanting to send money to Ukraine, just sending a blank check without there being some conditions and all of that. So how do you have it both ways?
Well, not only that, how can black people walk into a voting booth and vote for a candidate that don't support reparations, but supports giving money to other countries? Our tax dollars. See. Look, if these organizations want to raise money for Israel, let them raise their money and let them send all the money they want to Israel and Ukraine and all that other crazy stuff. But don't send my tax dollars. Don't send the tax dollars that I got to work hard and pay taxes, and then my tax dollars got to go over there. You shouldn't have control. You shouldn't have control of that. Why is that thumbs up bubble in my joint? What the hell just happened?
I don't know. I was
like, where that thumbs up bubble come from?
In the immortal words of the late great Tupac Amari Shakur, they got money for war but can't feed the poor.
Exactly. Dude, I feel,
and those are my last words. Last words.
Exactly. Listen, man, I'm out, man, because see, I'm getting upset because there's a clear double standard. And unfortunately, Black people are playing a role in the double standard. We are some willing and some unwilling participants in the double standard. And we have to wake up and say we're not going to partake in this foolishness anymore. We want the same. And if you don't give us the same, if you don't treat us the same, if you don't have the same energy and justice for Black people, then we're not going to vote for you. You had Kenneth Chamberlain's father was called the N-word by police, and he couldn't get a politician out there to denounce it. You get a swastika on a dumpster or side of a store, and it's standing room only. And we haven't seen George in 12 years at the candlelight vigil for Kenneth Chamberlain. But he's out there. I didn't even know he could talk like that when that swastika. I didn't even know he had that much energy on the mic. Because I ain't never seen him like that. Not when a Black man's killed. We want the same zeal that you have, George, for our issues.
And not just George, all those people that are behind that and putting that money up that want us to be compassionate to and have empathy to all that they're going through and the atrocities that they face. We looking for that too. We're looking for that too. Yo, with that, I'm out. Yo, shout out to those who tuned in. Shout out to Teresa Douglas. Shout out to Christopher Richards. Shout out for Eileen McDuffie. Shout out to Latanya Baptiste. Sorry, girl. Sorry, sister. Shout out to Yadira Ramos, Mayor Yadira Ramos Herbert. Shout out to Phil Reisman. Shout out to Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. Shout out to Sharon Bynum, Washington. Sandy Barnaby, Brian McCoy, Patty Dukes, Nadine McKenzie, Daniel B. Serrano. Oh, what's up, my brother? From Harlem. There was several others. I said Phil Reisman already. Marvin Church. Everybody who tuned in for the first panel. And stayed for the second part. Henry Wilson of Wycop, Osiris Imhotep, and everybody else who tuned in. If I didn't say your name, I apologize. Tony Old School Mitchell, Harold McCoy, and Reverend Margaret Coleman of the Yonkers NAACP. And everybody else who tuned in, that's just one of the lists from one of the pages we was on that I was able to see. This has been another episode of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 2 of the new season. We here, man, 10 years standing, still giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. Until next time, peace. I see you.
22 million Black victims of Americanism are waking up. And they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it.